Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So I don't know if you guys heard this is a story. It's not quite that old. I saw a few posts about it on Instagram. I went and decided to look up the actual story just to see what was going on, because sometimes those Instagram snippets do not give the actual story. So I actually went to find a story of a father and his daughter that ended up deleting her boyfriend over an argument. And so let me go ahead and read this story. This is her dad. All right. So a Georgia father has been accused of helping his daughter delete her boyfriend after the daughter called her dad during a domestic dispute, resulting in him pulling up to the woman's home and fatally shooting the boyfriend. According to authorities in Lithonia, Georgia, a father and daughter were arrested for shooting and deleting the woman's boyfriend after an argument at Belle Vista Apartments on February 28, 2024. Police said just before 3 p.m., after the people got into an argument, 25-year-old Nina Shaw called her dad, identified as 47-year-old Royricus. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, Shaw. After the call, the father then arrived at the apartment complex situated in the 100 block of Camellia Lane to confront his daughter's boyfriend. During the confrontation, the Georgia father began arguing with the boyfriend, identified as 25-year-old Trayvon Valerie. At some point, the father withdrew his firearm and fired around at Valerie, but missed. Valerie withdrew his own firearm and returned fire, striking the father in the hip. The daughter then fired a weapon at Valerie, hitting him multiple times, resulting in him succumbing to his injuries and dying. When police arrived at the scene, officers found Valerie dead and shot at least once. Shortly after the father arrived at a nearby hospital suffering from a gunshot wound, his injuries were not considered life-threatening. The daughter and father were eventually both arrested and transported to the DeKalb County Jail, where they both faced malice murder charges and a pending court case. According to jail records, the father was arrested at least 12 times since 94 for various charges, including disorderly conduct, assault, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. It is unclear what the three were arguing about. However, the family of the boyfriend believes that the father and his daughter teamed up to shoot their son. Boyfriend's family and friends have since held a vigil in his honor and closely following the case as they mourn the loss of their son/friend. Now, the part that I really want to get into, especially since the story was a rather short read, I wasn't able to find a whole lot of detail. I don't know that they have a lot of details in terms of exactly what was going on in the apartment that would have her to call her dad. But this just goes into what I've been saying all week about Black men being not really human. Their worth and their value is in what they can do for the Black women around them, even if it means they have to die or they have to go to jail. In this case, both is gonna happen. One Black man dies and one has to go to jail, all because the girl here is living with her boyfriend or interacting with her boyfriend. He was over there. I don't know if he lived there or not. Whatever kind of relationship they're having, they got into an argument. It doesn't say that he was beating on her. It doesn't say that she was being assaulted. It doesn't say that they were fighting. It doesn't say that her boyfriend was putting his hands on her. It said argument. Now they can only get that from her, right? So she's basically, I assume, tells the police or is in a report that her and her boyfriend were arguing. She decides at some point during this argument or whatever, she decides that instead of de-escalating the argument, instead of putting the guy out of the apartment, if that was an option, instead of her leaving the apartment, if that was an option, instead of breaking up with the guy and like, look, I don't want to do this no more, you arguing, blah, 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 whatever the case may have been, it doesn't say that her life was in danger. It doesn't say any of that. That's not what we're getting out of anything. She decides to call her dad because she know her dad gonna ride for her. So she calls her father to come and get this man. And I don't know what she told him or what she told him that man was trying to do to her or what kind of danger that she expressed to her father being in. But whatever she said to him, he came with the burner. Once he came with the burner, at some point the altercation gets heated enough for them both to pull their weapons. He misses, the dad misses, but the boyfriend don't miss. And I'm assuming she's the one that actually wounded the boyfriend, and then he dies from his injuries. And this is what we're talking about. Black women like to get men to crash out. And it's not even just Black women, right? Because they seem to be probably Afro-Latino, right? They look like they might be Latino or something. They don't necessarily look American Black to me. But even so, even if they are not, the mindset is weirdly the same. Where I gotta call my dad to come check a man. And women never think or they don't care about the possibilities that happen after you make such a phone call. And this is why lionesses operate a certain way, and this is why hyenas operate a different way. Because as a lioness, we may get into some situation where we've got to call that lion. Whether that lion is our dad, whether that lion is our husband, whether that lion is our brother or some other male. But the reason why lionesses rarely get into a spot where they actually have to make that call is because we are very guarded when we leave, when we go out places. Not only that, we do things under the protection and under the protective structures of the lions in our lives. So if we got a husband and he's saying, it's okay to go out, it's not okay to go out, whatever, keep this on you at all times or do these things at all times in order to make sure that you're safe, in order to make sure you're okay, give me a phone call, whatever the situation is, lionesses tend to follow those things. And so we are not as likely to get into situations where it's like, I gotta call my husband, even knowing what he's going to do. The reason why we're so reticent, the reason why a lioness is so reticent to do so is because she knows that lion she called, once you call him, you can't uncall him. Okay? He's not going back. All right? He gonna come, and he gonna come with that energy as to where he might have to put somebody in the earth. Or somebody might put him in it. And, it's like he's trusting us to quite a large degree to not make that call to him if we did not absolutely need to do that. This is why lionesses are so reticent. It's not that we would never make the call. We definitely would. But we don't do so willy-nilly. It's not just off the strength of anything, just because I know the lion's there and I know that he'll get you. So in other words, Lionesses have lions that they call, and hyenas have attack dogs, attack hyenas, attack hyenas that they like to call when things get too heated for them. They are arguing just as hard, or sometimes even fighting just as hard with these other men, with these men that they're dealing with. And they don't know how to do no type of de-escalation out of the situation. So their go-to to enforce, because they physically can't do this with this man, she know her boyfriend got the burner, and she know probably she can't go too far with him with all this arguing and fussing and fighting. So she says, you know what, I've got a equal or better force that you need to reckon with. And if I call and I'm upset, and depending on what I say to my dad, he's coming. He's coming. Once I get off that phone, it's a wrap. Might as well wrap it up, because he's coming over there, and he's coming over there to wheel and deal. Okay? I wasn't calling my dad to come nowhere, because he coming to wheel and deal. He not even gonna talk about it. That's how tough that was. He wasn't even gonna talk about it. Once he got there, he won't hear nothing. Where is the individual? Let me quote unquote talk to him and see what's up. I would never call my husband for a frivolous altercation, one that I may be able to de-escalate, get away from, whatever. I'm not calling him. Calling him to deal death and destruction. Because the thing that a lioness thinks about is not only would the other person that's bothering me or whatever meet some consequence, but my husband's gonna meet a consequence. Now her dad that I'm sure that she has sat up and told she loved at some point is now gonna go to some type of jail. That man is dead. Right? You came over with the gun. So, you know what I mean? They may not be able to get him on murder one, but maybe a manslaughter or something like that. Because what did they say that he was being charged? Let's see. They were facing malice murder charges, right? Malice murder charges. So I don't know if that's the Georgia equivalent of maybe second degree manslaughter or something. I don't know. But this is what it looks like. They always calling somebody, and they got mad at the clip of the lady that was calling it out. You always calling somebody. You always on the phone, ready to get black men to crash out. Who knows how many times you argue with that man? Who knows how many times your daddy told you to leave him, or maybe your daddy didn't even know. And you walked him right into a situation where he could be shot because that guy didn't miss. Now, even though the father's injuries were not life-threatening, it could have been. You never know. So now you and him are gonna have to face some type of consequence in court. But that man's dead. A black man's protection is in death or jail. Not his structure, not any instruction he may give, not any warning he may give, not in any advice he may give. It's not in him saying, you should do this, you should do that, you should avoid going over here, you should avoid, whatever. Don't want to listen to any guidelines, but you do need him to crash out and be an attack dog for you. Not human, beast of burden. An attack dog is a type of beast that you just is mindless. If you train an attack dog right and you say, sick him, get him, boy, he gone. He not about to ask no questions and assess the situation. Master said, get you. So you the enemy, so I'm going to get you. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.